Futures and options on futures trading involve substantial risk and is not a suitable investment for all types of investors. Past results are not necessarily indicative of future results. When I use the word I in this video, it refers to what I teach in my charting course or what I author in my twice daily oral and written updates. Prices shown on charts and quote boards are in real time and take into account all known activity up to this point in time. And if you'd like to read more of this disclaimer, simply hit the pause key on your video player.
Well, good day, all. Ira Epstein of Linn Associates with your agriculture update, and this is for the weekend edition of Friday, May 11th, 2018, just after 2:50 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Now, this was an interesting week in the sense that we saw the Iranian treaty deal with the U.S. come unglued. We're out of it. We have the Chinese delegation coming in to talk to us about the tariff wars that China and the U.S. are head-to-head on, could go into one. We haven't seen anything about NAFTA yet. That's going to affect agriculture. Is that going to happen or not? What I am hearing is that they're going to make what's called a skinny deal. They're going to try to get this thing done with the NAFTA part really focusing on automobiles, and I don't know if they're going to touch the other parts of the trade. I don't know. I'm not privy to the deal, but I read a lot, and that's what I'm reading, and I just heard that the meeting broke. It's going to resume next week. Everybody wants to get this done before the 17th. There's a timetable they're starting to put on it. Let's hope they can get it done. Now, as for the USDA report, they came out this week with their supply-demand report, and it's weighing on the market. But what I think is really weighing on the market is China. China's not buying our beans at this point. Traders there are scared to. You can't blame them. If there's a tariff of, say, 25% that goes on the beans, why would they buy American beans? There's other sources you can buy them. Let other people buy our beans. The Chinese won't. That's how it'll go. So you replace buyer A with buyer B somewhere. But because China's such a consistent big buyer of U.S. beans, it is weighing on the market. In addition, at this time of the year, the farmers are in the field. It's raining. It's plant season. Things are going to start sprouting. Beans are early. I mean, you don't have to plant them for a long time yet. But the corn is there. The wheat market, we've got a whole crop in the ground. We're harvesting other parts of it. And South American grain numbers are pretty well known at this point. So it gets to be a bit more interesting. And as is often the case, as you get into spring, unless you get weather scares, markets like to pull back. It's just a seasonality. And what we got when we look at a monthly chart, and that's how we do the weekend edition. We're going to look at only monthly and then weekly charts instead of daily charts. You have this upthrust that you went from $9 to $10.71, and if you'll notice, you're back under $10 again. So the market's pulling back towards the 18-month moving average of closes at this point, going in a big nowhere. Really, if you look back from right about here, mid-2016, it's really a market that's been very much sideways. You can see on the chart now how we're starting to break down. And if I put on a study that I created called a swing line, and you get to use this study in our charting software, here's the beauty of it. So often, you and me, we're going to look in the sky and see a cloud that looks like a face or a chart pattern on a chart that looks this way. But I swear to you, you go away, you come back a couple hours, and maybe that's not the pattern you're seeing. That's not the way to trade. Maybe you think it is. I don't. I want to know what these indicators are doing so I can see, number one, is the market trending? Number two, what stops the trend? In the case of a downtrend, I define that as lower highs and lower lows. And what a swing line does is it looks at the day prior and sees, do you have a lower low, a higher high, an inside day, an outside day up, or an outside day down? And then I created a series of rules to draw the prior bar to the current bar. And what you end up doing is seeing, are you trending? In this case, you are. Lower highs, lower lows is what I define as a downtrend. To break this trend, you'd have to take out 1056.5. Another way to say it is if one went short here at 994 3/4 and they wanted to stop over the most recent high, it would be almost 60 cents higher. The other thing I look at on charts are what so many traders look at, and they're moving averages, they're reference points, they're lines in the sand. They give traders an idea of what's going on. You don't have to believe me on it. Turn on financial TV, look at how many times they're going to talk about a 50 or a 200-day moving average of closes. That's for the stock market. I'm not saying all the averages work that way in futures, but I am saying reference point, reference point. It's pretty universal amongst chartists. So what the market did is it stopped. Come here. You had one break to challenge the 18-week average. You had a rally. This week you slid right through it, went down to the 100-week, and you stopped there. Okay. But now what you've got on the chart is a pattern of lower highs, lower lows, and you closed under the 18-week average of closes, which I define as the market then having downside bias. Yes, some support can be discussed at the 995.25 level, the 100-day average, and another area could be the lower Bollinger Band right through here. Bollinger Bands, these black dashed lines, are an algorithm designed to keep the market trading within them 95% of the time. And the way many traders look at them is the first time they're hit, be it to the upside or to the downside, it could be a support resistance zone. Eventually, out of sideways action, you will break through and get over that band to start pushing it out or pushing it down. Do I have an area here where it did it? Yeah, right here. It hit it, and then it started pushing it down, and you could see what ensued. So sideways action is the key. You don't quite have that right here. I don't call it that. I call this market more or less trying to break down now. On the stochastic study, which is an oscillator of momentum, it's pointing down. So in simple, plain English, lower highs, lower lows downtrend, bias down, found some support at the 100-week moving average of closes, which means the 18-week is now resistance if it rallies. Momentum down, and if it should decide to break a lot further, maybe the lower Bollinger Band at 954 comes into play. In the meal market, even though prices have broken to a big degree, it's still in an uptrend. You have higher lows, higher highs. That's bullish. You'd have to take out 369.5 in order to break that trend. And to do that, you watch. This 18-week average is going to jump Sunday night, and we'll see if the market on the way down can hold that. That will be what a lot of traders look at. In addition, momentum is still up. In the soybean oil, you've been getting some short covering as beans and meal broke on the daily charts, and they've done some what's called unwinding of crush spreads. They're taking back the oil that had been into this fabulous downtrend as meal was into this fabulous uptrend, and they're unwinding them to a degree. Will they stay unwound? I don't know. What I do know is you're not trending. You have a higher high and a lower low. It found support at that lower Bollinger Band, and it's bouncing away the way it did here and here. That doesn't mean it has to go back up through there. There is resistance at 31.76, but momentum to the downside has been lost. You can see it's trying to pick itself up. In the corn market, you have an uptrend on the weekly charts. Higher lows, higher highs. Momentum is waning a little bit, but until the red line closes back under 80, it's still pointing up. Now, if it starts getting there, and it's trying to roll over a little bit right now, we'll see. But until it's lost, it isn't lost. And support's back at the 375 level, which is going to climb as soon as we reopen Sunday night. You're going to drop one of these weeks back here, and you're probably going to get that up, matching up to this lower break point. So I'd be looking for that. In the wheat market, each time you've stuck your head up and over the upper Bollinger Band, you've come shooting right back down. Why should this time be different? Momentum is pointing down. The trend on the weekly chart is up. You have the higher lows, the higher highs. Support, probably wherever this 18-week average comes in, and traders won't want to see that 455.5 taken out. Trend is up. In the cocoa market, we have one of these funny markets where you made a lower low, a higher high, went to the Bollinger Band, and starting to slip away. But momentum is staying bid. In addition, notice how the 18-week average right through here, that's the red, that's the 100, got over the market, and the market hasn't yet made a higher high after that. Does it owe it? Well, maybe, but you've had a bullish crossover and you haven't made a higher high. I always look for that. It's not, by the way, when you're over that 18-week average, if you're a weekly trader, why would you ever even be thinking the short side? It's one thing to get out of longs, but your bias is up, not down. Sugar is caught in just a death trap, as I like to say it. It just can't get out of its own way. Keeps slipping to lower prices. Momentum is starting to divert a little bit from that. You're getting the momentum trying to turn up, as you can see here, but you still have prices sinking down. So therefore, I give the bears still the whole story. In the coffee market, a lot of sideways action with no trend. Each time the market has tried to get over this 18-week average, it's failed miserably. So the overall pattern has been more bearish than bullish. The bias is down, but it's knocking on the door of support right there at the lower Bollinger Band. You're about, 90 points away from it. Momentum trying to turn back down on you here, too. Cotton's got a seasonal, and I've talked about it during the week, that's normally down right now. And it's paying attention. It peaked out this week, made an outside week down, right against the upper Bollinger Band. Support could come in at the 82.10 level, the 18-week moving average of closes. In the cattle market, you have on the bigger chart, daily charts look different than this, but the weekly charts are bearish. Lower highs, lower lows. The market fell down, 107.62.5 to close. It did get down this week if you look to 104.60, which went under the lower Bollinger Band, and the market's come back and held that. But there's nothing friendly here. It even went through that 18-week average. Hog market in a lower high, lower low pattern. Bigger trend down. The hogs turn longer term bullish if you can get over the 70-75 level, and they stay bearish as long as you're hanging in, just like this. So you put it together, you try to come up with game plans, and that's what magazines, articles try to help you do. Modern Trader used to be called Futures Magazine. Changed their name maybe 2 years ago or so, became a much nicer vehicle. It covers ETFs, Forex, derivatives, options trading, futures trading, individual stocks. You get all the different stories in here, and then you get the education part, which I love, because they're going to bring you a series of articles with seasonal plays in them, different technical plays, and they're fully explained. So if you're looking for an education, easy to read, easy to understand, I'm taking you to it. I wish I had the ability to write the way some of these guys do. And folks, I don't get paid a penny by these people. I don't trade advertising with them. That's not what we do per se. I promote their products. I believe in the magazine, and you're our viewers, so something that I think you might like. How do you get it? Well, you can go there and buy it. $79 a year. Comes by email. Or you can get hold of us. Go to our website. You can sign up for it there, and it won't be $79 a year. You can also click up here or underneath us on many websites. You can click there, and it'll take you to our free offers page. And while you're on the free offers page, take a good look around. We had a screw-up this week that we didn't create. We were going to do, as you know, a live webinar on Thursday. They're not us. The providers' network broke down on them. We'll have one this coming Thursday. You'll be getting invites next week if you're on our mailing list. And by the way, you wouldn't have all gotten in. We were booked out, so I only get so many people in at a time, and it fills. I'm Ira Epstein. You have a great weekend. Take advantage of these offers, and I'll see you Monday.